Board of Health meeting for December 17th, 2024. Current time right now is 6:03 PM. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by our local cable access channel, WCAT, Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. If anyone in the audience is recording, please let us know. Okay. First up on the meeting tonight is the, what is it? Continuation of hearing for the Warren Package Store for a violation of the state law entitled an act to modernize tobacco control. and 105 CMR 665 by selling a flavored tobacco product or tobacco product flavored enhancer. Joan?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Are you the store owner?
Step up to the podium, please.
Sure.
And state your name and where you're from.
Thank you.
So, it's my understanding this is a continuation of a hearing,
Yes,
and I wasn't sure if there was a member that wasn't present.
yes, there was
Okay.
a member who wasn't present, and I think it was you I spoke to on the phone with questions.
I think so.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm Joan Hamlet, and I am the Warren Tobacco Control Agent, and I'm also the Director of the Boards of Health Tobacco Control Alliance, and we provide inspection and enforcement and education services for 46 communities. Warren is one of our towns. I believe you joined us in, I want to say 2008. Warren is a good community. It's not that often that we have to come here for noncompliance, which is a great thing. I just want to make a statement before we get started on this that, you know, the goal of public health is to help people come into compliance, not catch people in noncompliance. These are very expensive mistakes, and we take it very seriously, and we work with our retailers to do what we can to make sure they have the education that they need so we don't get into the situation where we are today. So with that said, I know that you reviewed the regulation, the violation at the last hearing, so I didn't know if you wanted me to just do a quick review on that.
yeah, you can do a quick review, please.
Okay. So we went into, on September 18th, 2024, we went into the Warren Package Store for our annual retail inspection, and we found a flavored tobacco product, being offered for sale in the store. And it was a second violation in a 36-month period of the state law. The second violation calls for a fine of $2,000 and a business permit suspension of 7 consecutive days. And then there's the order went out, and there's a separate attached, so you have one for the fine and one for the permit suspension order. And at this time, the retailer has requested a hearing. So we do have on the page the product in, there was 2 products, flavored hemp wraps, which is a tobacco-flavored enhancer, which is prohibited to be for sale in the state of Massachusetts. And then the other product was backwards white, black, smooth, and bold. And those are cigars where the manufacturer does submit a letter saying that they aren't flavored, but upon further testing, they have been found to have flavors that are not found naturally occurring in tobacco, and they have been restricted in the town of Warren as well as our other 45 communities. It was Samantha Blodgett, who was the clerk at the time. She removed the hemp wraps. A warning was given on the hemp wraps because the hemp wrap is a tobacco-flavored enhancer, but there was a question under the Agricultural Commission right to hemp farm law. If that product was covered under that, if it was, it couldn't be regulated, but it was determined by the State Department of Agriculture that that product was not covered by that law, and that moving forward, it was not allowed to be sold in Massachusetts. We provided an educational packet that each retailer signed for. We allowed everybody time to remove the product, and then said in, this future inspections, if it's found in your store, you would be fined. But we always, in those cases, give the retailer a one-time warning. So that's why they received a warning on that. The backwoods, we have 2 documents that was signed, one by the manager and one by the owner in August of 2024, prior to us starting this year's inspections. They signed that they received, and that's the packet that I gave you, that they received the educational information prior to our inspection. It's clear in the education, moving forward, if you had these products in your store, you would be fined for them. We did not have, interestingly enough, on 11/10, if you're looking at the first signature, we provided the updated product clarification letter, and on the back is a letter where it clearly says that you cannot have bold, smooth, and it's been declared a flavor. It was signed by their manager, Samantha. they did not have the products in the store. When we went into the store for the FY '25 education packet on 8/5/2024, it says manager, Jiten Patel. Okay, so he signed for the packet, and we have him actually as the permit holder, so I don't know if you're the manager and the owner?
Correct.
Okay, so he signed for them this summer, and then in our very next, they were not present in the store at the time, and then in our next inspection, they were present in the store. So at this point, we had 2 points of education, 2 signatures from managers and an owner, one that's a manager-owner, saying that they received the education, so we were pretty surprised to see them in the store, and it let us no other alternative but to move forward with the fine. This is the ITG brands. This is the addendum. There is a letter that they have that you guys had talked about in the last meeting.
Yep.
So this is their manufacturer letter that's required by the state. Every store is required to have this letter for every product that they sell in the store, where the manufacturer verifies it meets mass standards. These 2 documents that we gave takes everything highlighted in yellow that they cannot sell. So we provided that education. I don't know, what more we could have done, which led to this fine. It was brought to my attention at the last hearing, it was brought up that you can go to North Brookfield or one of the Brookfields and that they were selling these products. It doesn't mean that they're legal, and it doesn't mean that they were allowed to. It might mean more that they weren't caught. It's equivalent to saying, I can speed in Warren and they never give me a ticket, but when I go to Brookfield, they give me a speeding ticket. It doesn't mean you can, it just means that you haven't been caught. One of the things that we do is, I brought my business cards, all my inspectors give out my business card on every inspection, and on every one of them, I have Lisa, I have Eric, I have Jody. It has my card with my cell phone directly to me. On every page of our education, it says, if you have any questions, contact me, and you get my cell phone directly, so we're on the road all the time, so you get a direct person. Even on the violation letters, it gives my cell phone letter. On the packet, you can see the letter. I didn't put the second page of the letter, but on this letter, clarification letter, it says my name and to call me if you have any concerns or questions. We did inspect all of Warren that day. No other Warren stores had these products in the store. It's, an unfortunate situation that this is it's a state violation, so the options are limited. If the evidence supports that the violation occurred, it's a $2,000 fine, and it's a 7-day permit suspension, and that's very, very expensive mistake. The option that the board would have if it was a responsible finding is responsible for the 2,000, but the law on the second offense for this type of offense, it allows you can't do more than 7, but you could go down to 1. You could also do a variation of 1 and continue 6 days without a finding, and if there's a violation in 36 months, another violation, they would serve that and then have to serve the next violation. One thing that I do want to say is we work really hard to have working relationships with our retailers, and for this location, I can go in the state database all the way back to 2007. Since 2007, they have no other retail violations with our agency, state agency, DOR, fire department safety for the cigarettes. The FDA does annual inspections in their stores. There is no other documentation of any violations. Since 2008, we've done multiple inspections, and, other than a missing sign or a letter that we could correct right on the spot, we have no other violations for them. They've had, in the history of being in there from 2007, they have 2 sales to a minor, one in 2014 and one that they did recently in 2022. That was their first $1,000 3-day permit suspension. And then that's why this one has to be a $2,000 fine, because it's not 1, 2, 3 of a sale or 1, 2, 3 of flavor. It's any state violation that you have within a 36-month period. So because of that sale that they had in 2022, it led us to have to write the $2,000 fine. So we feel that we did our job and worked with the retailer. We provided the education. We have no idea after we had been in their store 2 times, one in 2023 and in August of 2024, why, at the time of the annual inspection, the product appeared after being notified that that product was not allowed in the store. We can't really speak to that, but the evidence does show, so we are recommending a responsible finding, and then it would be up to the discretion of the board what they would like to do about the permit suspension. But a responsible finding does require that the board cannot reduce the fine. They can only have options with what they might do with the permit suspension. And I did want to point out that in this education packet that they signed for, we also had a hemp clarification. So we were a little concerned that they had 2 products that we gave them in August and went over it with them. You can't have these products, that the products were in the store at the very next inspection. Because we had an in-person signed for, and not only was it in-person, we left the materials, so the materials were very clear. What did they tell me? I can't quite remember. It's pretty much spelled out, and that's in your packet too, the hemp clarification. After this hearing, there would be re-inspections to make sure that these are still, but when somebody requests a hearing, we don't do the re-inspection until the outcome of the hearing. We're expecting cooperation after this hearing. You know, this is a store with a relatively good standing history with all organizations, and we don't have any community complaints about this store. We have no concerns about this store. It's not flagged by any agencies as one to watch. These types of violations don't feel good, but we're put in a corner, and, you know, we take pictures and it uploads straight up to the state database. They geo-coordinate us. As soon as we open up the iPads, it shows that we're in the store. So it's an unfortunate outcome, and nobody feels good about it, but at the end of the day, we have to recommend a responsible finding.
Mr. Patel?
Again, this was signed by Samantha on 2023, and we didn't have them on the shelves. And the last meeting we had, we didn't have them on the shelves, but then like we told you at the last meeting, the representative came in, Jay Pollock, all these people, the paperwork we left with you saying it was all legal. So we had this, I'm gonna use the word confusion again. Everybody's telling us we had paperwork saying it's legal in Massachusetts to sell it. So it went back up. It was off the shelf for a while. And then when the representatives and everybody comes in and says, oh no, you can have this on the shelves, blah, 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 blah. So this is what we got. And we have merchandise that we cannot send back to Jay Pollock because they're telling us it's legal to sell in Massachusetts. So now he's stuck with merchandise. He's gonna lose that money that we can't even return because they're telling us it's legal to sell in our store. So we are confused about all this. We left all the paperwork with you, and it's like, we truly didn't think, we really thought it was legal to have up there the representatives. We got paperwork from the distributor that distributes to Jay Pollock. You know, and I don't know about the hemp. I know there are flavors, but there's no tobacco in those at all. There's not a tobacco, there's no tobacco in it. It's like a wrap.
Yeah, I know what they are.
So I don't know. And, yes, and just a neighbor in town, I just went and bought the same cigars that they're saying we were not supposed to sell in our store. They're right there, and I got them right here with the receipt. I just went and bought them with no problem. So some stores in Massachusetts can still sell them, and some stores can't. So there's a lot of
I don't think
confusion.
that is the case. I think the case is it is a statewide ban, but there's not enough inspectors to inspect all of the stores and get every store. So again, it goes back to like a speeding ticket. You're caught in Warren and you're flagged and you get a whatever fine on the ticket. You go to Brookfield for the same thing and you don't get a ticket.
I understand that.
No.
But when you're getting paperwork saying that it's legal in Massachusetts, and you got the rep coming in saying it's legal, and then you know, of course, we have customer requests for the product. So we want to keep the customers happy, and they're, you know, we have 3 people telling us that it's legal, and then we have this organization saying it's not. So we didn't have it on the shelf for a while, and then when they said we could, That's when they came in the following year, and we didn't have it on the shelf.
What?
It was pulled at one point.
Okay, Joan?
I just wanted to just talk a little bit about distribution. There's thousands of distributors that are either national, local, or state, including your online. There's thousands of distributors that retailers can purchase tobacco from. J. Pollock is the largest one in the nation, and Core-Mark is publicly traded, so those are the two largest ones. We have relationships with both of those stores. They are very aware of local blunt wrap, they're very aware of local policies, and J. Pollock and Core-Mark asked me for my 46 communities and said that they were going to work with their distributor, work to make sure that their stores in my towns wouldn't be able to order these. So I can't speak to that because J. Pollock is not here. But J. Pollock and Core-Mark will not come to board hearings because it's retailer responsibility to make sure that they know their local regulations and the state law and not put products on their shelves. But they will take back, if you have an order and a regulation, a non-compliance order, they will take back any unopened box with a violation. And this is what they have told us. But they're not here to testify for that. And I didn't know, Jody didn't have any copies of any paperwork. Do you have the letter from J. Pollock saying it's legal?
We left all the paperwork at the last
Because
meeting.
being able to order it off a database is not J. Pollock saying that that product is legal, but J. Pollock is aware that Bold, Smooth, and has been declared not only by my 46 towns, but there's Framingham has 14 towns in that tobacco agent for those towns, and the Framingham and the 14-town area has notified the retailers they can't have it. I can't speak to an unfunded town. North Brookfield and Brookfield, they're not funded. They've never had tobacco funded from the Massachusetts Tobacco Control Program, and they didn't make it into the grant to be able to have a funded tobacco agent like you do. So they may not have the capacity to do those inspections, or they haven't been trained.
We order everything from J. Paulo.
Yeah.
So when with this last inspection, we packaged everything up and we contacted them, and they will not let us return.
They don't take open boxes. So if you
No,
have open
not
boxes,
even.
but-
We have
Yeah.
boxes
I
that aren't
can't
open.
speak to that, and they're
And
not
they
here to
won't take it
testify.
back because they said it's legal to sell in Massachusetts. So we're just confused about if it's legal in Massachusetts, why we can't sell it.
So the fail here, where the violation occurred, is they're talking to distributors, and in our education, a distributor and a manufacturer can get a retailer a fine faster than anybody, because they're supposed to come to you as a board and your agents, and it says, if you have any questions, the minute that they went, hey, somebody else is selling this, the call for the question, as per the education and the ask of the removal, should have been to this board and through the tobacco control agent, not the distributor. The distributor has no skin in the game, and none of the laws say that you can, that a distributor or manufacturer can give permission to do something outside of the law.
Okay.
So that's where the store failed.
The-
And we do have a relationship where we come in every year and say, and my number is on everything, to contact if they have questions. But we were just there in August explaining to the owner, you can't have this product. So if somebody on the street is telling you you can, the failure was to call your agent that has told you you cannot have this. It's almost, like if you have a food agent going to one of your restaurants and tells a restaurant you can't have something, and they go, well, I ate this in Boston, and they told me I can have it. I mean, you just
Okay.
can't. you
But
have to
the
listen to
list that we have
your-
from Massachusetts is saying that it's legal too. So we got some confusion going on here.
Is there a letter from Jay Pollock?
That's what I'm looking for.
We left
And
everything with
From
him.
the last meeting.
I mean, you can't, like, if I want menthol cigarettes, I pop it in, they go, what state? And I go Massachusetts, and they're like, nope, sorry. So
Yeah, I remember seeing
we
it.
get everything from J. Paulo.
We work with a category buyer from Jay Pollock, and that hasn't been our experience, but I can't speak to it because they're not here to testify.
Well, we didn't bring in the order forms. We grabbed the J. Paulo order forms. But we left everything with him. We had the letters, everything we left here. So hopefully he has them.
But a distributor can't determine something's legal if an agent has notified.
It was,
that
who
they
was the
can't.
guy from J. Paulo? It was the man that distributes to J. Paulo?
I can go look them up.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I kept everything from that meeting.
Yeah, it's not here.
Do you want me to go look?
Yeah. It doesn't,
No,
I mean,
not really.
it doesn't make a difference because they can't give somebody permission to sell something after they've been notified they can't.
Okay.
I just don't understand why, if something's legal in Massachusetts, an organization can come in and say we can't sell it. I don't understand that. That's my confusion.
It's a flavored product and it's not legal in Massachusetts. So I can't speak to what you're saying because this is not what J. Pollock has.
I wish we had the
conveyed to us.
paperwork. I wish I didn't leave it here. I wish I had my paperwork.
But even if J. Pollock sends you a letter saying that as a distributor, they believe it's legal, that doesn't mean
It wasn't,
is.
it was from Massachusetts saying, they gave us a list which was legal. We gave them a whole thing from Massachusetts saying what was legal, and I wish we
No,
had.
This is from the manufacturer. This is
I
the
wish
manufacturer,
we didn't leave
ITG,
it here.
and it
Yes,
looked like this.
ITG.
ITG. That's the manufacturer, not the distributor. That's not J. Pollock. So the manufacturer is ITG, and ITG is the third largest tobacco company. Philip Morris was Altria, R.J. Reynolds. They're the billion-dollar, and they're the third largest one in the nation. ITG has contacted me, their legal department has contacted me multiple times on the Fusion line, which we prohibited the same way in 2020. And they, for black, bold, smooth, and white. White used to be White Russian, black used to be Black Russian, bold used to be bourbon, and smooth used to be their wild berry. So now what they did is they just call it white, black, and whatever, and said, okay, yep, no, it's not flavored. So we took the products and we product tested them for flavor and for a taste, following a court protocol from a lawsuit that happened in Cumberland Farms. All of them were flavored. So what ITG did is they contacted me and said, we came up with a new fusion process where we put the tobacco in an aromatic chamber and we put the florals and the ingredients in there and we cook them, like we pressure cook them, almost like a, you know, like if you're gonna do pork and you put it in a smoker, you put apple chips in it, it has apple flavor. And I said, really? I said, well, that's great, but at the end of the day, when you light this product up, inhale it and exhale it, it now has flavor in it that's not naturally occurring in tobacco. Mass state law does not care how you put the tobacco, get the flavor in there, they only care that it's there. So ITG, back in 2020, billion-dollar company, deep pockets, said, Joan, what are your towns? And they said that they were gonna work with their distributors to remove their products. They did not move forward in a lawsuit, they did not remove forward, so they still maintain that their products are not flavored. And individual agents have the right under mass law to do this taste test following the court protocols. And as your agent and agent for the other 46 boards, we declare them flavored and we've had them removed. This product, usually what happens, the schools call us and they're confiscating them, that's how we know they're flavored. This product came out in 2023, and within 2 weeks, 60 retailers from over 20 of my communities contacted me to tell me, hey, this is flavored, we know it is. They sent them to us, and because we have a contract, we have to sell them. We need that letter from you saying that we can't sell these because white is White Russian. Our retailers tipped us off to it. So we bought the products and we did the protocol. The protocol requires that we go into a room that has not had any florless food, perfumes in it for 30 days, and we have to get like the Deer Hunter shampoos and all that, and we have to attest and sign that we showered that day to make sure we have no fragrance on us, and we have to get the products, and we have to do blind, they come out in a cup, we have to do a taste test. We have several people that are willing to taste it. I'm not a smoker, I'm not willing to, but I am willing to do the sniff part. So we have different people, and we're all set up in a blind test, and that's how that was determined, and these were removed. And we notified retailers, and 2 points of contact in person with them signing that they received it before they would be fined. And they were notified this year in August, and then kind of went, oh, well, we're not gonna listen to tobacco control and our agents and our board that's telling us, on behalf of our board, we're gonna go with somebody else down the street is selling it, so we must be able to. And then this letter is from the manufacturer. This letter comes from ITG, and I brought this. I have the letter right here. So I thought she said she had a letter from J. Pollock. J. Pollock would never write that letter.
No, it's,
So this is ITG. So ITG
I wish
gives
she
this
had
to
the
everybody,
paperwork.
every retailer, and then towns are saying, no, you can't have this. But there's over 100 towns that are not allowing these products, just as we're not. What we do is we do that for you because you have an agency service. If this product was in question, you would have to follow that protocol and declare it not smoke, declare it flavored. that's where we got with the bold and smooth, but we understand that it can be confusion. That's why we do in-person point of contact, go over it. We went over it with the manager and the owner before we inspected them for a fine. I don't know what more we could have done to clarify it for them, that this was a product that they can't have. Now, I mean, a break that the board could do under the consideration would be a break on the permit suspension. Well, I mean, I'm recommending a not responsible finding, but I do have to report back into the state database, and a not responsible finding is, does the evidence not support that the violation occurred, and you don't believe the violation occurred, or is there a protocol error or a procedural error, and there's no protocol or procedural error in any of the paperwork or the orders.
Okay. Anything else?
So I understand, she came down to the store, she handed me the copy and I signed it and she left and I got the violation letter. As soon as I got the violation letter, I called her up and she explained me how it works. My phone call was about 56 minutes with her. She totally, and I need to understand also because I'm a business owner. There are zillions of salespeople coming every day, you sell this, you sell this, you sell this. And whatever, we get it from a J. Pollock distributor, who is the biggest distributor in the United States. So as she mentioned, that if you order anything menthol from J. Pollock will reject because you are not authorized to sell it in Massachusetts. The products which were on the shelf were ordered from J. Pollock. So I'm not blaming nobody, there was a little bit kind of a confusion. And after speaking to her, and as soon as we got that fine, we took everything off the shelf. J. Pollock won't take it back. And I have everything in my store. It's not in the store. I have to move it out of the premises, but it's at my home in New Jersey. So I have that product. They would not take it back. When they did introduce the menthol ban also, I had like about $10,000 worth of product. Garbage. But as I mentioned, like after I spoke to her, she made me understand that. We took everything off the shelf. As of that day, I do not have anything on the shelf. Because I understand laws are laws. You cannot break it. As you say, that you can get a ticket in water and you cannot get a ticket in the next town. But I'm following the laws now. So my request was like, if it can be waived, my violation can be waived. I'm in, right now also you can go, anybody can go to my store, they won't find a single product. Because she made me understand with that 56-minute phone call, and she also told me she was very nice, she explained it. But I'm not here at the store all the time, and there are people coming in, like managers, salespeople, and you know how the salespeople are, they will just. "Oh,
Yeah, the
this is-"
high-pressure salesman, they push you to do.
They push me everything, and also,
And when they show you this paperwork saying it's legal,
And
then the
then he
girl that
shows-
was there thinks
So
it's
it's a
legal
ki-
and puts it up
it's a
there.
kind of a confusion.
Yeah.
Because every day, my customer count is about 450 to 500 customers a day. And I try to help each and every customer out. But if it's hurting me like this, I do not want to do it. So, as I mentioned, that right now, my store is clean, there is no product which is under violation.
We haven't conducted a reinspection because we wait, because we don't want to toll another fine on top of another fine, but I believe that to be true.
I understand that, but
Him and I did discuss.
to make a penny, I cannot pay $2,000 fine, because you only make 10 to 15 cents on a tax. Versus $2,000, that's how I don't.
And that's what we're saying. We're just confused, like
We're
the
just
girl that was
confused.
there, when we get paperwork saying, like from Massachusetts saying it's all right, and the rep was like, yep, we promise you, you can do it, she put it back on the shelf. It was off the shelf from 2023.
Mhm.
And they come in and she's like, you know, we can't, so she put it back on the shelf, and then, so it's. I
So we
don't know.
respect the laws, and as I mentioned before also, that there is no product, single product in my store which is banned.
Is that a solution that both of you parties are able to work out?
I don't have an authority to find them responsible or not responsible. So, I mean, I have to keep the recommendation consistent with what the law allows under the circumstances. It allows flexibility on the permit suspension, but if you find them responsible, there's not flexibility, you can't reduce the fine. You know, and this one's a little bit tougher for us because it is, but I do have to defend our process. When our inspector was there, doing this inspection, we drop the packet off and we inspect the whole entire store. We look in the back, we look in, closets, we look in cabinets, we just don't drop it off and sign it. And we go over every single page, at the time of the inspection. And on the inspection on 8/5, these products weren't there, so there wasn't, no removal of them, they didn't have them. But that one page, she went over it, gets to the bottom, circles my number, call Joan if you have questions, goes to the next page, circle it, call Joan if you have any questions, and whatnot. And then he did contact me, but after the violation, not after he got the education.
Do you do any kind of inspections of the distributorships themselves to see if it's on there?
No, because we only do inspections that local boards of health would do. That's a different agency, a state agency that would inspect that. So we do not inspect
So
distributors.
we don't know whether or not that distributorship has that product on their shelves at this point in time or not.
They are a national and a New England broker, so they might have it because they have stores in New Hampshire, they have a warehouse that might distribute it to multiple states, so they might have a room for New Hampshire, a room for Connecticut, a room for Mass. That we can't speak to. But in our education, since we've worked with Warren, we have worked with retailers to say, distributors, you have to contact us, and that distributors can make mistakes because when they help you get these letters, the law says it's the retailer's responsibility to get them, and distributors help. They usually email you a file of 500 letters, and you gotta go through and pick and print the ones. And you're supposed to use these manufacturer letters, so anytime tobacco gets delivered to your store, they don't make it to your shelves. If it makes it to your shelves, the state law says that's a fail on the retailer, not the distributor or the manufacturer, because you could have a mispick. The distributor sent me something I'm not supposed to have, and that's in the industry called a mispick. So what they do is they say, mispick, and they package it, do not sell, distributor picking up, and they put the date the distributor's coming back to pick it up. We're never gonna find somebody because something was in their store by mistake. This made it to the register. 2 products after they were worn made it to their register for sale, open and being offered for sale at their register. The hemp wraps, there is no tobacco in the hemp wraps, but the state law says it's a tobacco flavor enhancer. Anything that you can roll in a material that you can inhale and exhale through your lungs or lighted device, regardless of if it has nicotine in it, is prohibited, as well as the flavored tobacco. It's clear in the law, and it concerns me to hear a retailer say, that's been in effect since 2019, the law passed, the governor's office did a ton of education, Department of Revenue, everybody who has a tax license received it by whatever method, and we've done annual education on it, and she's saying she didn't know that it's
I was
tobacco
always told
flavored.
because it's a hemp wrap and it doesn't have tobacco in it. I was
Yeah,
always told
but
that.
the state law says tobacco flavored enhancer does not have tobacco in it, it's something that is flavored. Now, you can have a hemp wrap in Massachusetts, but it can only be plain or tobacco flavored. You can't have the one that's mint, grape, fruit.
Because the flavor contains some sort of carcinogen in it.
Well, also too, it's attractive for young people.
It's a
sweet
to
flavor.
prevent young people, because now they're gonna take you can't buy flavored tobacco and flavored cigars anymore, so now they're gonna take their flavored hemp wrap and wrap their item of choice to smoke, to get that candy fruit alcohol flavor. The governor declared smoking and vaping a state of emergency in 2019, and to this day, the new governor, the 3rd attorney general, they still put it in place that smoking and vaping is a state of emergency, so they've given us extra money to make sure that we're getting the education and we're working on, getting these products off the shelf.
So then it's possible then that just because there wasn't any tobacco in this product, that they could have misunderstood the fact that
Well,
it's
they
flavored.
were warning on that, we didn't find them for that.
Oh.
We fined them for the cigar, the smooth, the black, it's black and gold. They had 2 flavors, I think they had smooth and white in their store. It's in the violation, they had 2 of the 4 flavors. But what was concerning is they didn't have it, we gave all the education and they didn't have it, and then after getting the education, they put it in their store. So I do believe it was maybe, chaos, mistake, the left hand not knowing, we call these expensive mistakes. I don't have the authority to say, we have to go into every store, treat every store the same, it goes right in, we open it up, we take pictures, we treat every retailer the same. So we can't make a compromise, because it's the board's job to at the point of appeal to decide what you guys want to do about it.
You have to understand, though, it's possible that if you see this product in other stores, even though you don't have enough agents out there, that if you see it in a store, you go, oh, maybe something's changed, and it's a good seller for us. It's a
Well,
profit maker, so
Crackers are illegal to
if
sell
I was in
in
business, I'd
the
certainly
same
get it.
Retail stores all the time, so.
Yeah, but- and on
it just-
that note, I
yeah.
don't think that, just because one store has it and they're selling it, and somebody walks in and says, well, it's for sale here, but it's not for sale there, the confusion comes in, it's still
It just comes
Massachusetts.
to the confusion of if it's legal to sell in Massachusetts or not. And like I say, we did pull it off the shelf, and then, when we started getting more paperwork, and the rep was saying it was, she put it, so it's, we were confused. It's just confusion.
So
Was it actually the rep, the salesman, or was it just, did he pull up in his truck and pull it out?
It's the rep that, the
Salesperson
sales.
call.
And he promised this, the girl that works there, yes, you can put this back on the shelf, it's legal in Massachusetts, because she's the one that signed in 2023, and she pulled everything off. And then when he came back, and then we got paperwork
Put it back.
saying.
So he signed that paper, he signed the invoice saying that he delivered that product to your store?
No, we get it through J. Pollock, because we cannot purchase it from them direct. So it has to come through the distributor.
All he does is come in, he sells the product, takes an order, and then brings it
And the
back.
distributor will also let us know that you can sell this product or not. But everything we purchase from the distributor, because we order like, today we place an order for like almost $8,000, today's order. So like, where we are going to go and see each and every item, because.
So that product would be on that order then
Yes,
that you
yes.
received?
No, not today, no, anything that she's just,
Yeah,
would
that-
not
that's
be.
not an order form, that's a
But
that's a
we have
process.
ordered from J. Pollock, yes.
With that particular product on it?
Correct.
And Jay Pollock is one of the biggest distributors, and we have 480 retailers in our 46 communities, and Jay Pollock sells to 90% of our retailers, and we're not having this confusion in any other store. So I don't know why Jay Pollock would tell them something different and not have it applied to many other stores. We do inspections 2 times a year in every single one of our stores, and this product has been, since 2023, not allowed, and we don't have this confusion. So we can't testify for Jay Pollock, because one, we don't have the receipt, we don't have them here, they're not here. They will not come to board hearings, because they take zero responsibility for any of these. They have never come to one hearing in all these years that we've done tobacco control, because that's their policy.
I'm just trying to point out, ma'am, that there's a possibility there is a huge communications problem here. And that the salesmen, different salesmen have different areas. And the salesman that handles this area couldn't, maybe possibly isn't as well informed of what somebody in Ware sells.
Right, so that's why the law says it's the retailer's responsibility, not the salesperson. But I do want to say, we don't feel good about this, but I have to protect the process, and I have to inspect the inspection. We have other retailers in Warren, we have other people who've had violations, who paid their fines, and they served it. They didn't appeal it because they realized, that there was a mistake. So we don't want to talk about 2023, we want to talk about August, where we were with the owner, we came in. This is the document that was given to the owner. It clearly states right on it, and these products were, every paragraph of this went over with the owner, and he signed that he received it. So it says right on the bottom, the following products have been determined by tobacco control inspectors to contain characterizing flavor not found naturally in tobacco. These products are prohibited in your town or city, and if found on the premises will result in a violation. And we let them know in bold print, because we don't want to find anybody, ever. Our goal is to help people come into compliance. Nobody feels good about this. And then it's specific. Backwoods, white, black, smooth, bold have been determined to have characterizing flavors not found naturally in tobacco. Therefore, these products are prohibited and found on the premises will result in violation. So this was just done in August, so there
In
shouldn't have been any
August.
confusion. If a salesperson came in, since the owner signed for this, what should have been said is, oh, we have a letter saying that we can't have that, our town doesn't let us have this. The call should have been made here, and instead, it went on the shelves and has being sold. So, I mean, we have to protect the inspection and the process and what we do for you, because I work for you. I don't work for anybody else. When I'm here, I work for you as your Warren agent. When I'm in Barry, I work as their Barry agent. And my job is to show you what we did, show you how the violation happened, and then at this point, it's up to you to decide, does the evidence support the violation? But the mass law does not allow to say, a salesman, a manufacturer, or a distributor can be on the hook in any way, shape, or form. There's other laws that apply to them and other agencies that check them out for what their responsibility was. The fail here was the retailer, after being informed 2 years in a row, one by a manager, not by a clerk that is not there, but two people in charge, a manager and an owner, you can't have this product. They didn't have it, and then they put it back on. So, I mean, it's an unfortunate, and I do believe it's an unfortunate, expensive mistake. I feel like, this is not a store that's on a hit list, this is not a store of concern, it's an expensive mistake, but I can't undo what we saw, and I can't undo the, our agents did what we were supposed to do. We did our job for your board. And it's a difficult place to be in, because there are people who aren't doing the right things. And there's a lot of people, and I'm not saying you did this, but a lot of people say, oh, I bought that from Cormac, I bought that from J. Pollock, and they actually bought it from the truck off of Pennsylvania, or the truck that has the Tennessee plates that comes in and sells under the table stuff to our retailers. We know Cormac is publicly traded and J. Pollock is big, and they have given us their products list. So we know when somebody says that, we know when it is, this product's a little bit different, because each tobacco agent, each Board of Health, or each health district has to do the testing themselves. So if Lakeisha in Boston tests this product and tells all the tobacco agents she tested it and it's flavored, I can't ban it in my towns as your agent. We still have to buy it and test it and then declare it on behalf of who I'm in charge of, that it's flavored. We still have to, so that test has been done in multiple communities. But if you don't have a tobacco agent to do that for you, especially small, tiny towns don't have the resources to have their agent out there doing that. And you have to get trained in tobacco law. So, it may be happening in another town, but it doesn't mean that
It's legal.
it's being allowed.
Okay.
If we could continue the whole thing, I would love that, but that's not an option.
No, we need to make a decision tonight. So what do you,
I'm gathering, seems like it's not to our responsibility too much. It's more to the store owners or merchants.
yeah, so it comes down to a responsible or not responsible finding.
Yeah. That's- So is that what we need to vote on?
Yep. That's what we need to put on. Don?
What's the question?
Well, the facts are currently in front of us that the violation was made. They got caught with the material on the store shelves after they've been issued training, not once, but twice. And they signed for it by store managers twice. So they know the product is not allowed on the shelves. And then you get the other side, a rep came in and said, it's legal. We have to find responsible or not responsible on the fine and the suspension.
As a metaphor, I can see one of the kids going into the cookie jar and taking a cookie out, and mommy catches him and says, don't go in that cookie jar no more. But yet here comes Big Brother, and he puts his hand in a cookie jar, and he takes a cookie. Is the little kid gonna follow him again and do it? Of course he is. So, what's the question is then, can mistakes be made? Yes. And I believe this was an honest mistake.
I believe it was an honest mistake too, but it still comes down to that they have the training, it was documented that the training was given, and everybody is aware of it. So it comes down to a finding of responsible and non-responsible.
And I feel that that rep that came in and more or less told me, it's good here in Massachusetts. Am I speaking correctly about that? You had a rep that came
We
in?
don't know that, because he's not here to testify that that happened, and it's hearsay. And I don't want to say that didn't happen, but J. Pollock, we have a regular relationship with them for 30 years, and that's not the case in other communities. I don't believe J. Pollock came in and told them that this had
No,
happened.
we're not saying, and then we had this from Massachusetts saying it's permissible.
And and the letter, the 2 letters 2 years in a row show them why that's not that's not accepted. The products that I highlighted are not accepted because they received the letter 2 times. But I do wanna say, the law does not allow a distributor to be on the hook at this level for this violation in any way, shape, or form. And I have to advise you that as your tobacco agent, not, again, I
Right.
wish we could continue the whole thing, maybe responsible finding and then continue the permit suspension. The 7-day permit suspension without tobacco is probably more expensive than the $2,000 fine. And I choke at writing a $2,000 fine. That's a very expensive mistake. We don't take it lightly.
We can't do a house arrest or something like that?
No.
Something like that?
Well, I do believe that they're cooperating. We spoke,
And that's
he
really-
called me right away once he got the violation, and I was like, oh, I just wish when you got the education, you didn't put it in the store, and we went over it again. I don't believe we're gonna have problems with this store again, and, I have to fight for a responsible finding, but respect whatever decision that you make. And then, if you continue it, and then they don't have another violation in 36 months, a continuance means if they have another one, they gotta do everything for this one, and then the next one, if they have another violation, it's a $5,000 fine and a 30-day tobacco permit suspension. It's a little bit
And that-
different.
that's
If it was
in-
a local reg, you have a lot more leeway and give,
Right.
but because it's a state violation.
It's a state reg, we are stuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say you. What do you feel? Do you think you have enough education at this point in time
Yes.
to
After I
prevent it
spoke
from
to her-
happening for the next 36 months?
Yes, after I spoke to her, I totally knew, and as I mentioned you, $2,000 versus 15 cents a pack. It's not.
That's a lot of
it's not a
pennies.
business, because I would never do something like that where I have to take this kind of a huge fine. And also, like, as I mentioned before, that J. Pollock is the biggest distributor in the United States, and if he sells it to me, that means that I can put it on the shelf.
Maybe he should only sell candy then.
All right, so we gotta come to a conclusion here. Not responsible.
For 36 months. I think if he does a good job and no other violations for 36 months, say be it.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion for responsible and change from 7 to 3 days. Suspension. You agree?
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
Third.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Okay.
so I'm correct, that's responsible.
Responsible, 3 days suspension.
And pay the 2,000?
Yep.
Thank you.
And pay the 2,000?
Yep.
In a 3-day suspension, you said?
Yes.
When does that start?
We are already out doing inspections in the area on, we usually do them on a Friday, so January 3rd or January 10th, because we're out both those weekends. Do you have a preference? It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday suspension. It could be the 3rd to the 5th, or it could be the 10th to the 12th.
Third January.
You want the 3rd? Okay, 3rd to the 5th. And we'll send you a draft hearing outcome letter for you to,
Is there a timeline for payment?
the board, if they, you can ask them if they need more time and give them an extension on time to pay it. Most boards would give an additional, if they need it, an additional 21 days. But you could do 7, 14, 21.
Do you have a timeline, Dan?
Do you need additional time to pay the fine?
No.
No? Okay.
So we'll put 7 business days,
Yep.
or 14 because it's Christmas.
Yeah, we'll do 14.
Yeah.
Are we all set?
We're all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
coming. Okay, next on the agenda, we have 63 Spring Street, discussion with Mr. and Mrs. Tomlin. Not here.
Okay, do you wanna kinda jump the agenda for the tropical vibes, so? they
Yeah, we can do that. We can
Yeah.
jump down to Tropical Vibes. Okay, you got the folder for that? I don't want to insult your last name. I don't know how to say it.
Oh, Vincent?
That's your last name? Vincent?
Is it Carter or Vincent? I don't know which one you wrote.
The check that I have says,
Over the check, it's Vincent,
the last name is Vincent.
yes.
Okay, I didn't want to
Is it Pierre?
murder the first name. So would you come up to the microphone, please?
It's under him, no, not Sean, but it's under him, not me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
so it's basically, I invited them today, let them know that we were doing the, meeting regarding their application that they submitted.
okay, so you have submitted an application for a permit to operate a food establishment within Warren called Tropical Vibes and Grills at 2162 Main Street, West Warren,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about it.
Like you have.
No, I gotta meet you. No, I gotta book them. And say what time it's open.
January 2nd, you're opening.
So have we met all the requirements?
This hasn't been submitted to the
Oh,
health
it hasn't been
inspector
submitted
yet.
to health
No,
inspector yet, okay.
we are still waiting on a serve safe, certificate.
Okay. All right, I see you have a pretty extensive menu here. Are you gonna actually be a sit-down restaurant or takeout or
Both,
both?
yes.
Okay, so I thought it was gonna be a bakery.
Mm-hmm. There's a bakery in there too, but, we're not doing anything right now with it.
Okay. So you're gonna be doing all kinds of soups and sandwiches, grilled foods?
Yeah, we're gonna do like a tropical soup, sandwiches, like dip it like a hot sandwich,
Yep,
like no cold, like a sauna, like a hot sandwich.
okay, tell me a little bit about what you're gonna be doing there. About your restaurant, tell me about your
Oh,
restaurant.
the restaurant is gonna be like a barbecue, like a smoked pork and ribs, and it's gonna be like a tropical grill.
Okay,
You're gonna be like sell like a rib special, like a shrimp ribs and burgers, like a chopped pork sandwich, like stuff like that.
okay, so is it more along the lines of like Jamaican style food or something like that?
Like a Caribbean food,
Oh,
not
like
like a
Caribbean food.
Jamaican, like not spicy like a Jamaican food, like just like Caribbean food.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
But we're not gonna introduce like a Caribbean food. We're gonna introduce a Caribbean food like on the menu, like special menu.
Yep.
Like to get the vibe with the community, because like I see the community like try to like American food, like and then special menu win like a Caribbean food, but not vibe like Caribbean food. Because like if you was in Boston, yes, because we got more Caribbean people
Right.
around Boston, we can do like full menu Caribbean. But over here, like we can do like a ribs, like everybody love ribs,
Yeah.
chicken, you know, stuff like that. But we still gonna do like a Caribbean food, but like not put all
Just
them things on at
adding
one time.
little by little.
And whatever your hours of operation,
Yes.
11 to 9.
11 to 9.
11 to 9, does that change on weekends, or is that constant?
It's gonna be closed on Monday,
Gonna be closed on Mondays?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
because like, the community, like, they would, like, we can open for breakfast, but the breakfast, like, more greets, stuff like
Yeah.
that, but I don't see, like, I go to a couple breakfasts down here, I don't see I wanna see what the community need, before
Right.
I start jumping it, you know, and
Right.
then I don't wanna put like a great sausage, stuff like that, and then they don't like it, and then I wanna see what customer want, and then before I start opening like a for
Yeah.
breakfast. That's why I say
So all this
Hello.
equipment you have listed here is all in the facility now?
yes.
Okay.
you guys have experience in other restaurants?
Yes.
Did the fire department look at this yet?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
We're gonna request, like I think like we have to do the first, just when we talked to you this morning, and then we're gonna request the fire department tomorrow.
Yep.
Or the way they can go over there. It's still kind of brand new. It's
Yeah.
everything's brand new over there. Yeah.
Yep. So the only thing that you really need to get right now is your serve safe, correct?
Yeah, we're waiting for the result.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just waiting to print off the certificate.
Yeah, and your supplier is gonna be Restaurant Depot?
Yes.
For now, like after that, we're gonna jump into Cisco, but
Yeah.
like for now, we're gonna
Do everything out of there, and then when you get
Yeah,
in business and keep, things pick up, you'll switch over to Cisco?
just like we already got a Coca-Cola
Yep.
for the machine. We're gonna already got like and we're gonna talk to the guy for the bar. We're gonna open the bar, but not now. But like at the bakery, we're gonna not doing the bakery because
So you're gonna take the bakery out and put the
yes,
bar in?
yes, the bakery out and then do.
Not completely.
Okay,
Because we know how they do bakery, but like for like like if we gonna do a bakery for your guys, but not bakery for sale, like no, we don't. We say like, okay, we're not gonna deal with that. We're gonna do something else with the bakery size.
okay.
So currently, you guys are only gonna operate on the side without the bakery currently?
Yeah,
We're using
because
both
the bakery got
sides.
like you got a table too.
So
We're not
that's-
gonna open the bakery like sell bread like cookies. Now we're gonna sell like a dessert. We're still gonna buy the dessert on our Food Depot or Cisco, and then we're not gonna bake the dessert to sell. We're not gonna do that.
Okay.
But both sides gonna be open.
Both sides are open with this?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And how many employees you think you're gonna have in there?
So far we got like 10.
10?
Plus, it's a family thing,
Yep.
but still, yeah, so far we got 10. We got 3 from the community, and then we got 10 from the family viewers.
Okay.
You're gonna need a bigger parking lot.
No, we got parking lot. We
You're gonna need a bigger one.
They got backside parking. Plus, the front.
Yep.
Yeah, we got parking from the front too. Not the front in the street, across the street after the light.
Yep.
We got parking, and they got huge parking in the back.
Okay.
It sounds like a pretty big thing you got going on. Maybe you should have at the train station.
Right, so you're intending on opening up on January 2nd, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And that's once we get the final paperwork in, we can get Trish in there and take a look. and the fire inspector has to happen first.
We'll
Make sure
check
he's
them
all set with
tomorrow.
that. And then we should be good to go,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to trying your food.
I can send all of that documents tomorrow to
Yeah.
Patricia.
You wanna stick one of these in there too? She's got one.
Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Best wishes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we head back up to 63 Spring Street, discussion with Mr. and Mrs. Tomlin.
Yeah.
They're not here.
I had an email today that they thought they may not be able to attend.
So where are we with their issue?
So I did receive an unopened correction order, received, like, returned back to sender
Okay.
the other day.
Okay, from them.
Yep,
Okay, so we assume that the trailer is still in place.
yeah.
The
there is-
trash is not being picked up.
There was
So-
communication today saying that they had started cleaning up.
So is
He
what-
went
Yeah.
today though, so.
So it was what my findings were today. They have the camper and they have a small, like makeshift pop-up trailer, which is full of trash. So I've been there before trash was kind of scattered around in bags. Now it seems to be all in this trailer contained, but there's still some blowing around. So leads me to believe they're trying to clean up, but it appears this trash has been around and now it's sitting in this one trailer.
Which is still an issue because you
Yes,
can
it's still
still
on the property.
bring in harborage of animals and rats and stuff.
But I have driven by in the months, weeks before, and the trash was on the ground.
Yeah.
It's in this
Right, so
trailer.
we issued they knew they were gonna get the correction order. And then they just returned it unopened. So our next step would be to,
Yeah, they didn't physically return it, they just didn't pick it up, so it sat at the post office for a certain amount of time where they automatically send it back to us, saying that they didn't pick it up.
so the next step is to hand deliver it. So why don't we get a constable? And then we'll see where that goes. Okay, next one, you got anything else on that, Jim?
That's pretty much my findings on it.
Don, you got anything to add to Spring Street?
No.
Just we gotta
No.
Keep monitoring it, I suppose.
Yeah, for now, and then, like I says, we'll have the,
There has been
Constable
some
will-
reports, though, on windy days of trash blowing
Blown-
to neighbors.
is that trailer enclosed, or is it just sides open
This,
on
this
it?
is a this is just a shell of a pop-up trailer.
Okay,
And it's,
kinda like the one that was out in the street earlier, on North Street.
is there any pictures of that?
You mean, of the pop-up trailer? Maybe not.
Maybe in the corner, we had more pictures of the actual motor home before.
That's different address. Okay. We don't have one for there.
63 Spring Street, no?
Huh?
63 Spring Street?
Yeah, I don't have one for 63 Spring Street.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll just go, for now, our next step in the process is the hand delivery by a constable. Okay. Okay, next one, continuation of reorganization of the board. Jim?
Okay, as we have a full board now, the last board meeting, we did the vote of the chairman. So you have to continuation of the rest of the board, which is the vice chair and the member. Is that what it is? So process there.
Anything?
No, I got nothing, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, I'm just asking if you got any input.
Oh, I say go, let's vote for somebody. Let's move the chair to a different person.
Okay, well, we did that. We
Well,
moved
the
it on.
chair has been chosen. That was last,
Oh,
this is
oh,
Last meeting,
continuation.
we're just trying to include you in, bring you up
Yeah.
to speed on it,
Okay, so, okay,
because you were out help for sickness or
who
something.
got chosen?
Yeah.
I did.
Congratulations.
So now we're gonna make the motion or vote for a vice chair and a member, right?
Yeah. Okay, so,
Jim, why don't you go for the vice chair?
I second.
okay,
I
All
vote
third,
All in favor?
all in favor, say
Aye.
aye, aye. There you go.
okay.
Okay.
I'll be the member.
You're the member? Okay. So we had a full board.
So that's a full.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Congratulations, everyone.
Don, you would like further discussion on Chaplain's Firehouse sauce application?
Yes, I understand. Was that denied?
Yes.
For what reason?
We gave them a list of material that they were missing on their application. Asked them for, explained to them in detail what they needed to get to us, and they failed to bring it.
Was the application itself over 30 days? Because I thought they brought that up to us in October. And it was never denied, so after 30 days, like with the Village Market, it becomes automatically approved. That's my question. Would that have fallen under that same scenario?
I don't think though, because there's questions on the validity of the food.
From talking to the health inspector, you have to make one way or the other. That's why I had all those meetings, to determine whether or not something was going to happen, and in what direction was it going, to either approve it or disapprove it. And it was on the 30th day that we disapproved it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna go with this, is that, did this actually become default for approval?
No, it was a default because they didn't provide us with the documentation. They didn't provide us with the plan for a cleanup at their kitchen. How are you gonna prevent somebody a sick person from entering into the kitchen and getting stuff out of the kitchen where it's in a residential kitchen? They didn't provide us with a list of the breakdowns of the ingredients that are going into the foods. Okay, they didn't provide us with the documentation for their dishwasher when it doesn't hit the required temperature. But we had a plan where we gave some on the equipment that they should have had, like 3-bay sink. We can make it work with 2-bay sink. We can make that system work, okay? The temperature didn't hit 180 degrees for sterilization. Can we get by that? We can get by that by making the process, okay, turn up your water heater. Okay, instead of buying a brand-new dishwasher, commercial run dishwasher. So we gave them ideas to enter into the deal to get things going for them. And they just wouldn't commit to the process of the ingredients for the food or the process of cleaning, how they wouldn't give us a written plan on how they're gonna keep somebody out of the kitchen that's sick, which is all required under the food sanitation.
Okay.
So we didn't have a choice. I mean, it is what it is. I can't hold other stores accountable and other restaurants accountable for the same thing and then give it to somebody else. Now we've got nothing. So that was the basis for the denial.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Update on right to farm bylaw. Okay, I have reviewed it. I've gone to different communities. We've talked to different people who have developed it for their communities and put it into practice. Every single community has the same plan. It's identical, it is the state-run program. So every community's plan is identical verbiage to the state. The questions that I was given by the select committee was, what about solar fields? What about, because they can be called solar farms. So I did some digging into that and found out that there is no exception for them. Okay, they do not fall into the Right to Farm Act simply because it's not a farming process. A farmer cannot sell his farm for solar and then raise crops on it. Okay, it's a solar farm, identified as a solar farm. The solar farm has its own set of regulations, and that's where it falls underneath that. It will not fall underneath Right to Farm Community. So, my next thing is to represent it to the board, the selectmen, have answered all the questions that they've had, and move it forward. And once we're through that process, then we can attack the second half, which is the Animal Control Act. So, that's what I've got for the update for the Right to Farm Act. And, you know, like I said, when I went and talked to different towns, we have the exact same verbiage in ours that everybody has. So, it should be a pretty much done deal. There's no, the Right to Farm law or act basically is to protect farmers and other persons from nuisance lawsuits, nuisance violations, nuisance claims against them. It does not skirt the state regulations in any shape, fashion, or form. And as I'm told by everybody, and looking into the Mass General laws, there's really no teeth in the Farm Act. It's just a delineation or an identification that the community is a right to farm community. And what we would have to do under those regulations is to put into play notifications to all realtors that when you sell a property, you have to notify the people who are buying that property that you're in a farming area. And these are the noises, smells, odors, traffic conditions that go along with a farming community. So if that's what you want to move into, then you don't have any recourse of filing complaints, nuisance complaints, against the farmer. Okay? Methods and modes of operation, a farm operates different hours than the regular public does. So, you know, they may be running later during the night than you are. You can't file a complaint against that because that's their standard operation. So it takes out all the nuisance complaints. On the same token, it does give some alleviation to somebody who buys a property near a farm if the farmer is indeed operating outside of his parameters and allowing materials to go over onto another person's property or animals to go into another person's property. So there are fines that would have to be put into place by the town to control situations like that. And if it's a nuisance claim that gets filed with the Board of Health about the farm, and it falls under the list of acceptable practices on farming properties, then it's a null and void situation. It's a farm. You have to live with it. So that's all the research and all the background information that I was able to dig up on the act itself. So-
Sounds good.
So that's where we are right now, and like I says, we're gonna re-present it to the Board of Selectmen after the holidays have all gone through, so we can get this thing hopefully in place by next year.
The other thing you had mentioned about the land and stuff? Is it gonna be like a map of the actual plot to say, this is the farm?
That would all come under, that's already, that comes into the second part of, well, it's not really second, it's a standalone
But there
regulation.
will be eventually some kind of,
It's in the Animal
So
Act,
you can,
Animal
like-
Control Act.
it's like a realtor selling the land, they can have this map and say.
Yeah, the
okay,
Realtor has to identify it to their potential client that this
Yeah,
is,
okay.
okay, and, you know, the area,
Or it would be
the
maybe-
town is already cut out into zoning sections. Okay, part of this will fall into the zoning. You know, farms that are already in place are there, that's where they're established. I believe the regulation, bylaws and the zoning laws identify, the areas of the town that are residential, the areas of the town that are, rural or farms or industrial or whatever it might be. And those all stay as they are. Where that's gonna have a more effective means is in the Animal Control Act. And that's gonna take a while to go through, because I gotta deal with a lot more zoning issues on that one. So, but again, rural communities or rural farming, it just gives people notification that you cannot do nuisance claims against farming operations, whether it be a tractor running slow up and down the street, odors coming from the farm itself because of animals, noises animals makes, et cetera. Okay? All right. Health inspector update. Okay. We have 26 Old West Warren, West Brookfield Road. The complaint has been in play on this for a while now, from one tenant, so we went out and did an inspection on it. Actually, we didn't go out, because they wouldn't let us in. The second floor tenant called about no heat. Tricia called to go back to them for inspection. They said, oh, we have no issues, we don't want you to come over here to do an inspection or any of that. Okay. So, until they call back again, or another tenant called back, on the second floor, complaining about no heat again for this particular person. And he has since then allowed us to come over and do an inspection on the property itself. So Saturday, Trish and I went out to 26 Old West Brookfield Road to meet with the tenant. And not only were we welcomed into the house by one tenant, but there were three of them that were waiting for us to get over there. So we talked with the first tenant who invited us in first, and went with him through the basement. Issues were with basement and water in the basement, raw sewerage, et cetera. And then specifically in his apartment, his windows were leaking. Water, whenever it rains, comes in through the upper header of the water, of the windows. Window screen's not working. His screen is missing completely. The stove, totally non-functional. The top half of the electric stove, the burners are all broken, not connected. The stove is not essentially in its full operating condition. Oven doesn't work at all. And he spoke to the landlord about it. The landlord basically told him, if you want a stove, you buy it. Which all the appliances came with the apartment, so that's the landlord's responsibility. He also had light fixtures that were missing parts and pieces. So we took an inspection on that. Then we went to the second person who allowed us in. Again, complaints of water and moisture and lead paint and unfinished flooring in their apartment. Their apartment's on the first floor. It's the largest of the 3 apartments that we looked at. inside of that apartment. No windows had screens in it. The heat was only working on one heater, it's all baseboard electric heat, and that heater was in the bathroom. And it was hanging off the wall, and you know the metal faceplate that goes across an electric heater? Those were all missing. So, and then we've got a 3-year-old, I believe, in that apartment. Okay, no toilet. They had to install a toilet and plumb it. There's a sink, a small tiny sink in there, just a basin. It is not plumbed. No water. They put a faucet on it, but there's no water in the sink itself. Floors unfinished, 2 different layers of plywood, all bare plywood, at different levels. Light switch in the bathroom, not functioning when they got there. Matter of fact, it was just bare wiring. So the guy put in a switch on his own, so we have a light in there. The exhaust fan in there is non-existent, doesn't work, it's broken, it's missing all the parts. It's just pretty much a hole in the ceiling. You come out to the kitchen. The kitchen had a stove that was about the size of a stove you might see in the back end of a pop-up camper. Okay, so Tricia's checking the regulation to see if there is a requirement for a certain size stove in the apartment. Again, no heat in that room, no heat in the bedroom. When we went there, it was roughly 64 degrees during the day. The requirement is 64 degrees at night for heat. If it goes below that, then you have heat issues. They were concerned with lead paint in the property. When we came back and pulled the file on the house, it was built in 1980, so there's really no lead paint issues. Okay, so I told her, she said, well, my daughter's testing high on lead. This is okay, it just doesn't mean there's lead paint in the house. Lead can come from anything, any source. Check your water, have a lead test done on your water. So she's gonna check that. All of the outlets in that apartment, none of them had faceplates. So the kid, 3-year-old kid running around, stick his finger in a light socket's gonna get electrocuted. Okay? So that was the first floor apartment. Yeah. And as you walk into the first floor apartment,
Electrical inspector. should
you
be
need, well, we
involved too, right?
referred to the electrical inspector, fire inspector also, because the system is there, but we don't know if it's functioning. And there is a fire extinguisher in the hall that was discharged, it's empty. Not gonna do any good if there's a fire. I also instructed the guy that wired up the light switch that he was wrong in doing that. He was wrong in putting in a toilet. Because if something happens now, if a fire should develop because of that wiring that you did, he's on the hook for it. So, they're in the process of being evicted. The second floor tenant is in the process of being evicted. Well, actually, both second floor tenants are in the process of being evicted. The first floor just is currently moving in. And they all moved in under the pretense from the landlord that you don't need to see it, all you need to do is move into it, it's all ready for you to move right into, it's all square. And none of these things, none of these apartments are viable apartments. So we referenced everything to the electrical, the plumbing, fire department, and the building inspector. Outside the front doors into one of the hallways, because two doors side by side, there's the blacktop goes right up to the house, and there's a hole in front of the entry door into the house that goes right down into the basement, where all the water from the driveway runs right into the basement. If you walk, we walked around the perimeter of the outside of the house was loaded with trash and garbage and all kinds of junk completely all around the house. And every place we looked when we were in the basement, where there was a side window or, a window in the basement, it was exposed or open to the weather outside, so the water can get into the basement from all of the windows. They did have a plumber over there, they had some new plumbing for bathtubs and things that were leaking, and toilets that were leaking that were taken care of, and that was it. There was still standing water in the basement. We were told there was no water in the basement, but when we got there, there's still standing water in the basement. So, that is the update on that. Correction orders are being written up and being sent to the owner. And we'll see where it goes from there. But right now, the 2 second-floor tenants are supposedly being evicted. So, questions?
No, I'm all set, Dan.
Thank you for the report.
1 hour inspection, it kind of took all day. So, all right. The next thing on the agenda.
Old business and new business,
Yep.
and then I got, 2 questions on billing.
Okay, let's go with, we covered
Businesses
26. We did 26. New business first, any new business?
No.
No, okay. All right, old business?
None.
None, none. Okay. Bills and payroll. Let's see. We have Dawn Mikowski's monthly stipend for November, 150, December, 150. Dan Thibodeau, monthly stipend November and December, 150 each. James McCann, monthly stipend November, 150 and 150 for December. Animal inspector stipend was 200 for November and December, 200. Did she start the barn?
They have a time frame of October through December,
Okay,
so it should be. There hasn't been communication,
okay.
though.
Health inspector for November was 1120. Cheryl Rawinski, health agent nurse.
She doesn't win any money?
She didn't want any money, I guess.
So she submits every 3 months.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just nothing submitted at this
Yeah.
cycle.
Town of Warren sewer, leachate, 135, November 19, 2024. Slims and Bertholomew sewer leachate invoice, number 79853, is 450. Barton LaJudas monitoring invoice, 102293 is for 5,100. Barton LaJudas engineering services invoice number 10242 was for $1,000.
Do we know what he did? By any chance?
It's within the signatures.
He filed the report with the DEP.
Yeah, there was that one wasn't with us, but
That one had a deadline on it?
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see about this thing.
Yeah, yeah, that one was about like 500 pages.
I still wish Barton and LaJudas, we get a little bit more descriptive with their invoices. They just go engineering services, you know, it's so generic.
Maybe, can
Just
we?
drives me off the proverbial
Can we
wall.
call them and ask them if we can get a little bit more of an explanation as to what they did and when they did it? Because just like Don says, engineering services can be anything.
So on the invoice, it does say a little bit, I don't have an exact one right in front of me, but it will say under there, like, inspection for spring of whatever, or, there is some detail, but not,
Yeah, but if they can give us like, you know, inspection for like you were just saying, inspection for detail for the spring inspection. What is it detail? What does it involve? What are you
Yeah.
inspecting?
Like this one here for $1,000, it says monitoring.
But what are you monitoring? What are you monitoring for?
Thanks, Dan. That's
So
my
that,
question.
that $5,000 one, was the PFAS testing.
Okay, so they should have that listed as PFAS testing.
It is. These are the accounts that they come out of. So the Barton and Judas monitoring account, that's the account it comes from, and the engineering services, that's the account that money draws from. And on their invoice, it does say monitoring wells and engineering services on them. And then it gives a very, very slight description under each one.
You know, if that is what it is, that's pretty cheap for what it used to be.
Yeah.
For us to get old Scott out there, for monitoring and doing all that testing, he documented that we had the 2 wells out there on North
Yep.
Street, as well as all the wells around, and PFAS testing was up in the thousands of dollars if I wasn't, if
Right,
I'm not close.
and we're still trying to to address that PFAS situation with the other wells that are upstream from the dump.
So, I talked to the DEP there, and that, we've only got 1 well going past the school, northbound of the transfer station.
Okay.
So, that would be southbound, I'm mistaken. So going past the school, we're going past the transfer station, past the school.
Yeah.
That would be south, right?
That's
Okay.
south.
So,
Yeah, because you'd be headed to Brimfield.
Yeah.
And, there's only 1 well down there, and I told him, why are you monitoring that way? Shit flows downhill. I got nothing that's gonna go back that way to that
Where's
well.
the second one? 'Cause you said there was 2.
There's 2 of them that are left, and they're downhill from the transfer station.
Okay.
And I do believe they're both on the left-hand side.
I do believe back last year, at one of the landfill inspections, Dan from the state
Yep.
had said that he would be more than happy to come to a
Yes,
selectmen's
and I
meeting
was-
to help assist.
Yeah,
the,
I was on that walkthrough with them when we did that.
Yeah, trying to get them off of their well and onto town water as it flows. But there's a line right in front of the house.
Yeah.
So as you know, we've had that conversation about getting rid of those town, or the 2 people that have those wells, and putting them on West Warren water.
Right.
So putting it all together and talking to as many people as I could, I ran into Andy, who now works for Warren, and he does just like an hour a day or something, an hour a week working for West Warren. If there's a problem, this and that, he says there ain't enough pressure up there to really put any more houses on it. You would need a pumping station.
Pumping station put in.
And then that came into play, and I don't know what happened to it from
Yeah,
there.
they're pretty much flushed
It's out there, but where would you put that? Do you have to buy a piece of land for that? You know, things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you could put that. Yeah, you can't put that in.
Maybe some sort of underground
Booster,
booster, yeah.
vault in the street with a booster in it.
Yeah.
It's an option. I don't think we need to, I think we need to keep this alive. It shouldn't go and just drop. We need to keep pushing for it, because if we can get them off of that, onto the off the well water onto town water, then we're gonna save a ton of money.
It would save a significant amount of money for the town.
Yeah,
It may cost a little bit upfront, but the state was saying even assisting in some of that will help save the town so much money.
yeah, it'll also drop some of the filings to DEP. So I think we need to keep kicking that can.
The amount of what they charge, West Warren charges for water, talking to Joe, because Joe lives in West Warren, it was like almost free. We're talking like $12 every 3 months just for water, including not the monitoring, but the gauge there. And,
The water gauge.
and,
But that would still,
I think that's like 80, I'm gonna try this one, because I've lost it a lot. 80 square feet of water. Water for some reason in the water industry comes in lots
yep,
and square feet. And it was like 80 square feet that this thing is free for the first 3 months. After that, then you pay, and it's really pennies on a dollar
Yeah.
for water. That's what's warm for you, though. I do believe the young lady who's the secretary works out of her house to run that place, even though the address is for it here. I've never seen an office where West Warren.
Yeah, they don't have they just have a secretary that works out of there.
Bianca or somebody like that? I forget her name.
Duncan, Kathy Duncan.
Kathy, that's close.
but if we could, I think we need to keep it alive so we can get somewhere with it. I mean, even if we bring Dan in and talk to the DEP, the DEP guy, bring him in and talk to the selectmen. So we can get some action.
Well, not for nothing, hey, now that it looks like the prices of PFAS testing have come down, what does happen here is that if those wells do get PFAS in them, where are they gonna point the finger at first?
Right.
Boom, at that transfer station. We're gonna become responsible for it one way or another. So at any point in time, if that gets detected, even if it's not from us,
Right.
even if it flew,
You're gonna be the
came in
guilty
here from
party.
some other source of water that decided to take a turn because of a solar panel array or something like that. Someone grew a tree, and now it goes around that tree.
It's gonna be us.
It's all gone, so, we're gonna end up biting that bullet at that point in time.
Right.
So at least now, so what you do is you're gonna walk in there now and you go, okay, we'll go in at, 5 years. 5 years, free water. But if the PFAS is found, then, and it's our fault, now you're forever?
Pretty much.
So that's what you got.
And we still don't know whether there's, or do we know if there's PFAS found in either one of those wells yet?
Correct.
Because
It
they're
should-
private wells.
That's correct.
They are tested. One, I think the last reports said they couldn't, I can't tell you exactly, we'd have to look back on that.
I thought they were
but
tested every
were
time they
tested.
do the testing of the wells at the transfer station. No?
I believe it's a separate,
Oh, separate?
Okay.
It's a big to-do for some reason because the, just like any kind of septic system, the lid for that particular holding tank could be
Right.
with dirt over it and everything, and you gotta clean it out, clean around it, and of course, you don't wanna drop something in there, like some little fireman's foam or something like that.
No, just anything in it, period. I mean, and I'll tell you, as, in my line of work, we do a lot of, electrical manhole vaults and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, some of these things, you really have to dig to find, especially when they're off, out of the concrete or out of the pavement and they're in the dirt. It's a chore to get them to open again, period. Because they get embedded and they rust a lot faster. And that rust forms a seal around that cover, and you really can't.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about the wires in the ground.
No.
That poor wire, all that's gotta do is get nicked by some stone in there, and once you get condensation in there, it's done.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
And that's, my point is the wells that are pretty much in the same condition, they're in the dirt, have a tendency to rot a lot faster than they would be if it was encased in concrete. And you're gonna have more problems with that particular well because of the contamination and the oxidation that happens inside the well. Because those aren't sealed pipes. they sealed the whole water, but water can get into them too. So,
There's some kind of gunk in there, I don't know.
there's gunk in there when you put the
Pipes
system
together,
together, yes. But there's groundwater from the outside, stormwater, they can still get in.
Let's not forget, there's gonna be pressure there. I'm gonna have like 90 pounds of pressure on some of those lines.
Yeah,
And, I'm gonna need a good seal.
you're gonna need a good seal. Yeah. So I think we need to just maybe make a date after the first of the year to get Dan in here. And have a meeting, have him see if he'll address one of the nights at the, selectmen board. So we
Yeah.
can get this thing moving, and hopefully, I'd like to try and get people off the wells, period. Cause that'd be a nice chunk of change that we can save. All right, so that's Burdett's trash removal, November 719.50, December 719.50. Solid Waste Solutions, 23.50 for November, 23.50 for December. Robert and Ludlow Printing, business cards for Mr. McKeon, $41. Plumbing inspectors, $765.
Do we know which plumbing inspector that was? Is it BEC?
That is BEC. Okay.
Because there's two of them, you know.
Yeah, sorry, this is our normal,
Okay, so we want to approve meeting minutes for
21st?
24,
24, is that a 4?
11/19/24. Okay, everybody? agree?
Wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa,
Whoa, approve next meeting. Oh, let's approve the minutes.
yes,
So the next meeting is 1/21.
1/21/25.
Oh my
Hello?
goodness. I'm gonna be doing that for a while.
Okay, so do we approve the minutes from 11/19/2024?
Yes.
Yes.
Approved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the last one on the list is adjournment. Are we all squared away? We want to adjourn? Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion second.
Aye, third, everybody?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.